Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a lovely week. So I'm afraid I didn't manage to do the voiceover ready for Friday, so you'll probably be listening to this Saturday. So I hope you've enjoyed the last few days of the week and haven't been too busy. Thank you so much of those of you that have recently started following me. And many thanks to those of you that have now been following my journey for so long and add so many encouraging, supportive, kind, inspirational comments on my channel. Really does mean a lot to me. You're all such positive individuals. So thank you for those of you that have just recently followed me and added on in the description where you're from. I really enjoy knowing where everyone's from. So the top 10, United Kingdom, still on 45%, followed by the United States, 19%, Canada, 4%, Australia, 3%, Germany, 3%, Ireland, 1%, France, less than 1%, Netherlands, less than 1%, Israel, 0.2%, and Italy, still hanging in there in the top 10 on 0.1%. So thank you so much. If you hadn't added in the comments where you're all from, please do let us know. We really like seeing the different countries and continents that people are watching from. So the latter part of my week, I worked on Wednesday and had guides. Thursday I worked and Friday I worked. And I don't really know, but Friday I had a lot to do, but I really didn't feel that motivated. It's funny when that happens, isn't it? Sometimes I feel really enthusiastic and really motivated, and other days I really don't. Not quite sure why, just how I just felt generally, I think. Wednesday at Guides, I had to speak to a few girls because they wouldn't stop shouting. And the problem is, after Guides, I get some mums then message me to say that their daughter's got a migraine, or their daughter feels ill, or that's affected the child from sort of a sensory perspective. And it really comes down to like 2, sometimes 3 girls that literally are shouting. And it often seems to come down to me as the leader to speak to them. I don't like raising my voice, so I try not to shout, but I did have to say to them, please, can you stop shouting? They looked a bit bothered. I suppose they feel like it's when the teacher tells them off, but we try to keep things relaxed there, try to keep it so it's not like school, but when they just get a little bit, I don't know what the word is, over-enthusiastic, over-excited, not quite sure, the shouting has just got too much. So yeah, I had a busy sort of last couple of days, and then during the weekend, which we've been talking about, we haven't got loads plans, which will be nice. So last weekend I had to work Saturday morning because I was leading some work and I had to be there to sort of see how it went and make sure everything's all okay. Whereas this weekend we've got completely clear. So one of our nephews turns 18. So we'll be going to sort of a little celebration, take his card and present. It's so hard to know what to get. I kept thinking it'd be nice to get some like cufflinks or something that he could keep and know that he got for his 18th birthday. But then I thought, oh, like he's not going to be wearing cufflinks now. So is he just going to go to the jewellers or go to the shop and just take them back? It's hard to know what to do because I just feel like if I give him money, it's going to go on things like petrol for a car or, you know, a top that he might want or something. I would really like to get something that he can keep, but I don't know. I think we're too short notice now. We've asked for ideas and no ideas have been forthcoming. So we'll see. So I wanted to give you a quick update on how I'm getting on with my various challenges because I know a number of you are doing little challenges yourself and following along and taking part. So the first was my fast. So I've now completed 2 weeks of no sweets, chocolate, cakes, biscuits, crisps, coffee drinks, anything that I consider a treat. I didn't cut out fizzy drinks or alcohol because I don't really drink fizzy drinks or alcohol, very rarely. But I have one Dr. Pepper a week on a Friday. So I have continued with that. But all other things that I have on a regular basis, I've removed. So I drink too many of those cold coffee drinks that are absolutely full of sugar, cookies and crisps. So I've cut them all out. So that's done well. That's gone well. I'm still doing my 30 minutes of exercise. And as it's not been so frosty, I think I'm going to ask my husband to get my bike out next week. So I'll do 30 minutes on the bike. I went on a lovely walk on Wednesday. I didn't say about this. So on Wednesday, I decided to put a big gap in my diary. I booked a whole session to say keep free. And I said to my mum, should we go on a walk? And then should we go to lunch? And we went to lunch a few months ago and she paid. So I said it was my turn to pay. And we went on a really lovely walk in the country with my mum and her dog. And then afterwards, we went to a coffee shop that's not really that far away and had a nice lunch. My mum had an English breakfast and I had an egg roll. It's very nice. So my walk has been going well, doing 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes biking a day. Now, 30 minutes doesn't really sound much, but the reason why it is a big change for me is some days I spend nearly the whole day just sitting at the computer. And certainly on Friday, sometimes when my daughter comes home and we go out and get fish and chips in the evening, and I think, goodness me, I've not stepped away from that laptop. I've not even gone outside. So it's really good for me to get outside, ideally when it's not dark, get some sunlight, and also get some exercise. So this is also the third week of my different working pattern at work. It certainly has been a juggle. It certainly has been. And I think come February, I'm going to look into making some changes about how my hours are, possibly my holiday. Because one of my jobs, I can buy and sell holiday. So I think I'm going to buy some holiday. And that will mean that I can then use those days and that'll be a little bit easier, like over the school holidays, or I can just take a day off and just do something else. I think that'll make things a bit easier. We've also been looking at where we want to go on holiday this year. And I feel a little bit unorganised because usually by January we've got our summer holiday booked up. But I looked in my calendar and I hadn't even booked the time off work. So I don't quite know how that's happened. I think sometimes when you're sort of so busy with things, you don't always stop and then you realise, oh, yeah, it's the middle of January and I need to book my holiday off for the year and we need to decide where we're potentially going. I'm going to go through some of your comments now. So thank you so much for those of you that add comments to my channel. I love reading through the comments. And what I've noticed is that the more comments that I get, the more views I seem to have. So even if you just put a comment saying, "Hi Emma, hope you're well," that seems to encourage more views. I was getting about 1,000 views per video, within 24 hours. But I've noticed now I'm getting 1,000 views after about 18 hours. And when you look right at my videos, at the beginning of last year, some of my videos got 9,000 or 15,000 views. But unfortunately, even though the music that I used on those videos was apparently free and I was allowed to use it on YouTube, somebody then claimed a copyright to the music, so I can't get any ad revenue on those videos, unfortunately, which is a bit of a pain. But a couple of my videos recently have also got nearly 3,000 views, which is really good. I'm really pleased because the more views I get, the more ad revenue I'll be able to get for my charities. So first comment is from Karen Davis, and Karen says, "My husband keeps his phone turned off most of the time. It drives me crazy. Your dining room looks nice with plants on the hearth. I enjoyed the clip of your daughter's movie. So cute." Thank you very much, Karen. I find it very frustrating, this whole thing with phones. It's like, I told that story about when I was scared the other day. I was telling my mum about that, and she said it probably would have been better to have called me or my partner. And I thought, yes, it probably would have. If my husband is literally looking at his phone when I call, then I might get a chance of him answering. But otherwise, if he's doing something else, he obviously won't hear it, won't see it, doesn't answer. Winds of Change says, I've been watching your videos for a short time, about 6 weeks. I enjoy them. You are very down to earth and honest. I'm in Cheltenham in Gloucestershire. Thank you, Winds of Change, for commenting and letting me know. I must admit, I didn't realise Cheltenham, which I'm sure I've been to Cheltenham, I don't think I knew it was in Gloucestershire. Sometimes I think my geography for England should be so much better. Because it's funny, because everyone who's not in England will think, oh, England is so small. And yet England, yes, it is quite small compared to other countries, but all the different parts of England you go to are completely different. So like the ways that people behave, the way that they work, the way they speak is extremely different from the south to where I live to up north. The people are very, very different, and the ways are very different, and the villages look different. So it's quite a contrast when you go travel around the country. Cynthia Miller, hi Cynthia, hope you're well. Cynthia says, hi Emma. Now that you've explained your feelings about the things you've decluttered, I understand why you don't show us. I certainly don't want you to backslide. Your kitchen is really looking tidy these days. Good job on cleaning out the freezer. I say, Cynthia, if you go back and look at some of the videos at the beginning of last year, I was a bit horrified myself at what the kitchen looked like. Goodness me. I do try to keep it maintained now. Not always, doesn't always work out. Sometimes I leave a couple of things for the morning, but I am on top of it compared to before. And it doesn't feel so much of a chore either. Cynthia says, we all need to tackle this chore more often than what we do. Cynthia's talking about the freezer. The dining room looks good too. Yes, we did get our snow overnight. About 1.5 inches in my neighbourhood. We have a big expanse of grass in front of our house. So the children across the street asked if they could come and play in our snow. It was so enjoyable seeing them make snow angels and try to make a snowman. Oh, that's really lovely. How nice. It's nice that they asked you whether they could use your snow. It's quite nice, isn't it, to think that the snow on your grass belongs to you. Oh, I bet the children had fun. We've not had proper snow here for ages. Ages and ages. The last time we had really heavy snow was the Beast from the East, as we called it. And I should think that was in about 2018-ish. And it was really heavy. You couldn't drive in it. And I had to get all my outfit on, all my stuff on. And I walked into work. And I can remember my husband videoed me and he was at home with my daughter. So I missed out with the snow play. And he took her over the park, I think, with her sledge. It's lovely for children. I love the snow. I just don't like it when it turns all icy and all slushy. Once it's like that, I just want it to go. But I love it when it just comes down. I don't think we're going to get any this year. Famous last words. I mean, sometimes we do have snow in February, but quite unusual. Sharon Mummy. Oh, hi Sharon. How are you? Sharon says, very enjoyable video. You get lots sorted in this one. I like the rug you have in the dining room, and it got me thinking. I remember you saying you were thinking about renewing your runner rug in the hall because there's a mark on it, and you have that pretty rug in the dining room folded up. Could they be swapped round and the area that has the mark on, and have that in your dining room instead? This is interesting. So thank you for saying that you like my rug in the lounge. It is a bit unusual, and I know it's not to everybody's taste, so I'm glad that you like it. And it came with the house. Can you believe? It was left in the house. I think that rug, it might have been previously in the other room. And I just loved it. And for a while, I rolled it up and I put it in the shed. There was loads of stuff in the shed. You would have loved that. If I'd have videoed that when I decluttered the shed, I don't think anybody would have believed the stuff that came out of there. There was like so many things in there left from when we bought the house, and just stuff that we just put in there. And in the first year of COVID, we decided to have the shelter built, and we had the shed pulled down. Yeah, there was so much stuff in there. So this rug is very old. I don't know whether it might be like 50s or 40s, 60s. I'm not sure what period it is. Now, the rug that you're talking about that I fold over, that is very old. That is well, it's not as old as this one, but it's an Afghan rug. And I bought it when there was a lot of problems, and I felt like, I could try and support people that were being persecuted. So that was like handmade by somebody up in the mountains. But it is falling to pieces. And actually, as I hoovered it, I cut some bits off that were falling to pieces. It's actually in a really bad way. A really bad way. I don't like the one that's in my hall. That has got a big stain in it. And next time I go to IKEA, I think I'll get another one. But the one I saw in IKEA, foolishly, I hadn't taken measurements, so I couldn't buy it. I never used citric acid before, Sharon goes on to say, but I did once see someone demonstrate a tip of using cola down the toilet. You pour it in a full bottle and leave it overnight. And yes, I tried it, and it really does get rid of the lime scale. Now, I have also used Coke in the past. That's a good reminder, thank you, Sharon. The only thing is, this lime scale is really bad. I used some blue cleaner, and it's so thick, the lime scale, that the lime scale turned blue, as opposed to the lime scale coming off. I need to take all the water out of the U-bend, and then I need to put Coke or citric acid straight on it. So Sharon goes to say, in terms of Joanne's comments, I homeschooled my youngest son from the age of 8. He's 18 now, and he's a very sociable and loving young man. He has Down syndrome, and he could not cope with the noise and hustle and bustle of the classroom. He spent the day in and out of tears, and his behaviour was suffering due to frustration and anxiety. On top of which his education was suffering. He loved homeschool and was back to his old self within 2 or 3 weeks of us doing it. As parents, we know our child the best. Both my sons are very different in their needs, even though they like a lot of the same things. All children are individuals, and no one else gets to dictate. Advice should only be offered if someone asks for it. You are very inspiring, Emma, with your ideas and health goals. That makes me want to join in. I have to be careful because of my heart, but I would love to drop a dress size or 2 and increase my fitness level, and just generally feel healthier, make better choices, and not turn to chocolate when I need a pick-me-up. Yeah, it's not easy. I really don't think it's easy for that, but I do feel like we have all got self-control, so we can all just think no. The thing that I have with chocolate is, if I have some chocolate on Monday, I start thinking on Tuesday, I fancy some chocolate. I fancy some chocolate on Wednesday, and so on. If I just don't have it for a while, I don't think about it. I definitely think as soon as you start having it, then you start thinking about it again. It's definitely the sugar in it. And sugar is so damaging for us. But chocolate is nice. Your little daughter sounds just like you, Emma. Her little voice is adorable. She's always so inventive and full of energy. She's a credit to you both. So I think you must be doing the parent thing perfectly. Oh, what a lovely comments. And I do think it's so wonderful that you took your son out of school. Some children, it just doesn't suit, that they just don't suit the environment. The class sizes are quite big, can be quite noisy, and it can just be too much for some children. When we did homeschool, we had lockdown, I think I put my daughter off homeschool for life. retrospectively, I probably got her doing too much. She got on very, very well academically with me sitting with her and helping her and teaching her. But when I mentioned it to the teachers said, oh no, we don't do that much work. So I think I probably got her doing too much. And the more I thought about it, if you think when they go into school, they go in, they spend the time taking the coats off, don't they? Faffing about, going into the classroom, sitting down, teacher trying to control the class. And actually, probably for each lesson, like for an hour-long maths lesson, you have 10 minutes setting up, you have 10 minutes packing away, some of the time in the middle where some of the children are misbehaving. You don't actually get that much learning time. Yeah, thank you for that. She was really enjoying that little movie. I hope she finishes that off this weekend. It's so sweet with the little otter family going on a treasure hunt. Right, next comment. Fiona McCulloch has hello from Scotland with a Scottish flag. Welcome, Fiona. Lovely that you're here. Purpose in mind says definitely see great progress. Rooms are tidier, which also makes them look comfortable and pretty. From Anne. Thank you, Anne, in Australia. Angela. Hi from Brisbane, Australia, originally from Wales. I love your cosy home. And I replied to say she's a long way from home. Do you speak any Welsh at all, Angela? Thank you for being here. Dulcie Rose says, hi, I live in Cheshire. I enjoy listening to your kind voice. Also nice to hear you read out comments that are interesting. Thank you, Dulcie. Wonder if that's your real name, Dulcie Rose. What a beautiful name. I love that name. Stacey from Virginia says, happy wonderful Wednesday. Blessings. A wonderful video I enjoy watching. Thank you for sharing. Thanks ever so much, Stacey. Karen Howard says, sounds like your plasterer needs detailed pictures for each room to help him remember oral instructions. Yeah, a couple of people said something similar. Brooke also mentioned about this. Now, I'm really not sure what the answer is because I've written down the instructions. So I've got photographs. I've edited so it says number 1 on the photograph, then number 2 on a different photograph. Then I've written out number 1, and I've written a description. Plaster the wall, blah, 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 where the fire is. So I have written out detailed descriptions, and I found that most things have been completely misunderstood. The only thing that he hasn't got wrong, and believe me, I did check several times because I thought he would, he hasn't got anything wrong with the maths in terms of how much I owe him. He's been very accurate with that. He knows exactly how much I've paid him and exactly how much I need to pay him. So he's obviously hasn't got problems with that. But there was one wall, and I said to him, can you give me a price for, there's all this wood on the wall. Can you give me a price for having that wall skimmed? So he said, well, in order to give you a price, I need to take all that wood down to see what's underneath. So I replied, please do not take the wood off the wall because that will give me no choice in terms of I'm going to be forced to do it if you rip the wood off the wall. But can you give me 2 prices? One, if the wall just has to be skimmed, and another if the wall has to be bordered and skimmed. And he replied, yeah, no problem. And I went and did my supermarket shop, and on the way out there were loads of photographs where he'd ripped off all the wood and said, there's no board underneath, so I need to board and skim. So that was just one example of him completely misunderstanding what I'd asked. And he does really struggle with his writing. So some of the messages, it's actually really difficult to understand what he's talking about. I have to read them several times to understand what he's talking about. But in saying all of that, it looks like I've got a lovely finish on the walls, which that's exactly what you need, isn't it, with plastering, isn't it? Julie says that she's from New Zealand. So welcome to Julie from New Zealand. Lovely part of the world where my cousin has just moved to. Karen or Howard also said, I was cheering you on with the magic kitchen corner. Excellent job in the dining room. I laughed when your daughter said you use the comfy chair all the time. Yes, to hold dry laundry. Haha. At least you know that I can take a joke, Karen. You are right, we do use it to pile up laundry. Nan Holmes says so cute, maybe she will grow up to be a film director. Maybe she's still very, very intent on being a vet. Someone said the other day that she'd make a very good diplomat. And we were explaining to her because we've been watching The Traitors and we have allowed her to watch The Traitors for those of you in the United Kingdom. We watched a couple of the first programmes and I said to my husband, there's nothing in this programme which is nasty, violent, rude. There were a couple of swear words I noticed, but nothing, really, really bad. So we've let her watch a couple of them and she's really been enjoying it. And one of the people on the show was previously a diplomat. So we then had this conversation. And then in the car today, she was saying it'd be a dreadful shame if I got a job where I didn't use my languages. And I said, well, you do have a flair for languages, so it would be good to use them. How are you feeling about still wanting to go into veterinary science and veterinary care? And she said, I still want to be a vet. I said, okay. I said, well, there's no reason why you couldn't do some of your qualifications in Italy. Who knows? Brooke says, I used to play the alto tenor saxophone. Wow. You used to play. Why don't you play now, Brooke? Do you not have one anymore? My mum popped round the other day. My nephew had got a bit upset because he was playing his violin and suddenly all the strings changed and he doesn't know how to tune it. So my mum came rushing round. She said, is there any chance that Auntie Emma can have a look at the violin? I was like, yeah, sure. So I tuned it all, but two of the strings look like they're about to go any time. And the little tuning pegs, one of them is broken. So the violin needs to be serviced. So my husband started playing the saxophone. What happened was many, many years ago, he said to me that he'd always been interested in playing the sax. So I bought him one for a birthday present and he started to learn. And then my daughter was in a concert and there were several saxophonists and my husband started talking to them and he was going to try to get back up to standard where he could join in, but he never really got to grips or felt confident with reading music. But still, you can always go back to it, can't you? Brooke says, I'm guessing you'll put citric acid in the toilet when no one else is home. Otherwise, I'd be guessing who'd be the first to use it and flush all of the product away. Well, I copy my mum with that. I put something down the toilet and then I put the box on the lid. And that means to everybody in the house, you can't use that toilet. You need to use a different toilet. Brooke says, as a provider, I've found that sometimes a stronger diagnosis is given than needed so that the patient can get more services. That's interesting, yeah. Another great video of you keeping on tidying your home. Thanks, Brooke. You always write lovely comments. I appreciate that. Louise Tilbrook says, unfortunately, Sydney has been postponed. They've had floods and the trains have been on strike and thousands of people without power. And I can't walk and Mum has some of her own health issues. She said, we can't be in Sydney without the trains. It will happen, just not this February. I'll keep you posted. Well, that sounds like a very sensible decision, Louise. There's no point going if it's going to make things so complicated and difficult. And certainly you don't want to be pushing yourself too far because you can't walk well. So I look forward to hearing when the new date is. That will be an amazing trip. Sandy says, you make me tired watching you. Your house looks really well. Kimberly Woods says, I live in Houston and I work downtown. And one day I was walking to the bus and a man who didn't speak English jumped in front of me and started screaming at me. And then he pulled his fist back like he was going to hit me. But it scared me a lot. I finally got away from him, but it left an impression on me. Goodness me, I'd have been scared. Brooke replied, Kimberly, that's scary. We hear that Houston can be quite unsafe. What does it mean to say downtown? I work downtown. What does that mean? I'd be very scared if that happened to me. I'd be very wary. Was this in daylight or was this at night? Because I'd be very scared about that. I was talking about this with my mum and I was sort of telling her about this situation with that man sitting on the floor that I was scared about. And she said, did I think that there's something inbuilt in women where we're always wary? And I said, I think there's probably a combination of factors. It's that kind of, debate, isn't it, as to whether it's something that's inbuilt in us or whether it's something that's environmental. Because I do think that as children, girls are, we're treated differently. And when children then become like teenagers, females are treated differently. Because the chances of a female being assaulted or attacked is significantly higher than men. Well, obviously it can happen with men, but it's more likely with women. So I don't know. I walked out the other day and I watched my daughter just walk a short distance. And she said to me, that was like getting dusk. And she said she came back and she said, can you walk with me? She said, I can't see if that man is walking towards me or walking away from me. And I said, it's okay, because I'm standing here. And we watched. I said, you're okay to go. I said, look, I can see that he's walking away from us. That's fine. I said, and I'm standing here, so you're safe. So I do think there's that wariness, but I think it's a combination between environment, isn't it? And maybe that sort of built-in genetic factor. Kitchen Worker says, hi Emma, you were doing so well with your decluttering and tidying. You did tell me in one of your other videos that I commented on, you answered my question and said that you hardly ever cooked as your husband did all the cooking. Yet I keep seeing you do lots of cooking. Also, you said that it's his job to take the clean washing upstairs and sort it into 3 piles. And again, I keep seeing you do this. And anyway, why doesn't he put the washing away? From an outsider viewing your videos, it looks very much like you do pretty much everything and work almost full-time doing 2 part-time jobs. I really hope you don't think I'm being mean to you. These are just my observations. Sadly, I do feel that we women have been sold down the river by being told that we can have a career and a family all at the same time. However, the reality is that, yes, we get the career, yes, we get the family, but we still do 90% of the home and childcare, whilst men get to carry on pretty much as they did when they lived at home and their mum did everything for them. I'm 64 now, and although my husband does help me, he never cleans the bathroom, never does hoovering unless asked, never puts washing in the machine or puts it away. He is getting better at this, but it is a struggle. I'm very interested in your choice of words when you said about him helping you. He's not helping you, is he? He's helping himself. It's both of your home. I can see what you're saying, Kitchen Worker. I really can. So I guess when you're seeing me cook, those are the days that I'm cooking. But when you're not seeing me cooking, those are the days that I don't. So just to give you an example, at the weekends, I don't do anything to do with food. So my husband brings me and my daughter breakfast in bed on Saturdays and Sunday. He sorts out the lunch and he sorts out the dinners. So like on Sunday where we had brunch and then we had a roast dinner. He does it all and I don't do anything. And then it just depends on whether he's in London or not, or whether he's in Ipswich or not. So like Monday I did a very quick and easy dinner. My daughter used to go to Rainbows, so we always laugh and call it a Rainbows dinner. So that'll be something like fish fingers or something. Then Tuesday I got something out of the freezer, so I heated something up and cooked some potatoes. And then Tuesday my husband made curry ready for Wednesday. Thursday I started risotto. And my husband finished it off when he got in, and I came and sat down with my daughter. So that was kind of a joint meal. And then Friday evening, we always have fish and chips. So obviously nobody cooks that. He makes all my lunch. He makes my lunch every day if he's at home. He at the moment I'm not eating breakfast, am I, as part of my fast. But he'll do our daughter's breakfast. So I do think he does the lion's share of the food. And you're right in terms of his job with the washing. That is a bit of a challenge. That was originally my daughter's job. And then she couldn't do it anymore because she was getting affected by the dust and all the kind of the fibres from the clothes were impacting her, making her wheezy. So I just need to make a point of asking. This is the thing. What happens with us women is it still ends up being our mental load. And what our job is to transfer the mental load to someone else. Or the analogy that I really like is the analogy with the monkeys. And that we're all carrying around monkeys. And the thing is, we end up getting hold of and carrying more and more monkeys to such a degree that they become extremely heavy. And the aim is to pass the monkeys on to others. So for them to take responsibility, for them to take over things that you're dealing with, that you're trying to remember. And what I found in life and what you generally find is that some people are really good at passing their monkeys to you. So increasingly you have to say no and find a way to give the monkeys back or sort the monkeys out, because the monkeys get very, very heavy. Anyway, thank you very much for watching my video. You can see that I'm having a sort out in my daughter's room. This is what I call my 5-minute sort out, just going in the room and just seeing what bits I can get rid of. There were quite a few things that she said that she was happy to get rid of. I'm going to put a few things for sale. There was a mug that I said, oh, do you want to get rid of that? She said no. I said, well, should we take it downstairs and you can use it for your hot chocolates as opposed to it being in this wicker basket. There were a couple of dolls that she wanted to get rid of, and then there was sort of like a plastic bag under there that had become full of random things. So I managed to cut it all down to the 2 baskets, and then her crochet bag plus a bag that was just full of Pokemon things, which she's ready to get rid of the Pokemon things, but we need to find out whether we want to sell them or what we want to do with them. So thank you very, very much for watching my video. I'm sorry this is a day late. I would have loved it to have been with you for Friday like normal, but it wasn't to be. So please do look out for my videos. Monday, Wednesday and Friday is what I aim for. And then right at the very end of the video, you'll see a couple of very, very short clips of when we popped out into the city. So I thought I'd just include those. They're only really very short, but I've left them right till the very end. So if you're not interested, you can skip that part. I was quite pleased with my 5-minute tidy. Probably ended up being 10 minutes in the end once I did both sections, because I looked at some of the books and sorted out some Christmas presents that had been put in a little basket to look nice, but actually needed to be put away and go into other places. And I'm getting better and better at putting like with like. So as I was sorting out, I was seeing, okay, well, these are craft things, so we need to put the craft things with the craft things. My daughter's got a number of different bags and handbags and shopping bags that she uses for different times. So they've all been put together underneath in that basket there that you can see on the video. I think next step is I really need to go through some of the other baskets, and I need to make some difficult decisions about getting rid of some of the cuddly toys, because we do have quite a lot of cuddly toys. So all in all, I managed to get quite a lot done in a very short period of time. So probably another quarter bag to go for the charity shop. So thank you very, very much for watching my video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that's helped you do some sorting out and clearing out in your own home. And please let me know what you're up to. And if you've got any sort of updates on your challenges and so on, I love to hear about that. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!